Okay, so we're back with the podcast. I guess we finally called it Nico's Photography Podcast because we lack of other terms, and we made
Right.
some really cool art.
Very creative.
Yeah, we're here, Nico from Nico's Photography Show, and
Harold from
Harold.
Friends.
Harold from Valoy.
Sure.
But yeah, we've did a previous episode that did much better than we expected.
People actually seem to enjoy us talking for now.
Yeah, probably also the lack of content on the channel hasn't hurt it. But today we have a bit of a mixed bag. Harold was mentioning about the industry news and stuff like that. I don't want to make this podcast only industry news because I already have the news and opinion videos for that. And I feel like sometimes it's a bit too much information that people don't always want to hear. So this one's going to be a mixed bag of stuff. You might notice that we have some long white lenses and a Canon 1V. I wanted to dive into something I seem to do every summer with my kids, and is shoot some sports that they're into with a film camera. This past weekend, it was super sunny, and I decided to take my trusty Canon 1V and a 72-200, which I have here is this small boy, and shoot some Portra. I rarely shoot color per se, and even less action, but I thought it was cool to talk about the heyday of film cameras and sports photography. And obviously it wasn't made for shooting your kids playing soccer when they're 9.
I mean, you've got like an ultra professional kit that would have been worth a decent car when it came out, and hey, it's like, yeah, shooting kids with it.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is like when you're shooting film, most people shooting film are shooting because they slows them down and makes them think and meditate and whatever gibberish people think. But I like to shoot film for multiple different reasons. I have like a camera for mood, if that makes any sense. And this is I want to shoot like if it was 1995 mode. That's why
Like
I'm
your
wearing
vest.
my vest. Even though
Yeah.
I shoot Canon nowadays, I team Nikon too. But yeah, basically the 1V was the last Canon camera to ever be sold, even though they were manufactured years ago.
Oh.
It was discontinued officially like maybe 5 to 7 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, like 2015. Not
They had like stock somewhere.
well, yeah. I'm sure they didn't produce it.
Yeah, or maybe they did. Just as the Nikon F6, it was discontinued not so long ago. And these were the premium, top of the line, your Canon 5D Mark 74 of film. And it does everything you could imagine. Focuses super fast, continuous focus, shoots at 9 frames per second, so on and so on.
It is basically a 2010 digital camera, like the same capability they had. I mean, it's not quite that, but it's like the autofocus and stuff is very close to that.
Yeah, and it's really, I find it refreshing to shoot film like that every now and then. It kind of cleanses your palette because you are taking pictures with a Hasselblad or RZ or a super wide or blah blah machina, something like
old
that.
and impractical and shitty.
Yeah, and has beautiful quality, but no depth of field. And then you go to this, and it's super cool to shoot like a 200. Like trying to shoot a 200 millimeter lens equivalent on a Hasselblad is just almost impossible.
I mean, they're like, well, this is a big lens, but we have a 300 2.8 here. It's
Yeah.
a big lens, but it's not as heavy as the Hasselblad.
And you can't
500 or
shoot
whatever.
sports per se so simply, like just for the focus. So yeah, this is super fun. It's a completely change of mind. I will throw some examples because I didn't want to edit this podcast too much, but I think it's kind of cool to show. But yeah, I was wanting. Errol just picked up a Canon 1N,
Yeah,
which is
I've been eyeing these, and a couple of people in the office shoot them, and it's like, oh yeah. Usually, so I have a Nikon F80. I'm a Nikon fanboy. And really love that, and I've shot a 28 1.8 last summer on that, and really love the results. But yeah, I mean the Canon stuff is tempting, and having seen you shoot it, and the lenses you put on them, like this lens you've got here is it's 28 1.8, and it's like half the size of the Nikon equivalent. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean my choice for shooting Canon EF film comes the other way around. So like I was Nikon when I started.
Your first film camera was the F80.
Well, my first new
Real.
film camera was a Nikon F80. I had a Chinon from my dad for a while.
Oh, it doesn't count.
I got good
But it
results
was
on it.
you got the F80 when it came out, kind of.
And the Chinon was already old when I got it. and this is 2000 or 1999. But yeah, I got the Nikon F80. But the thing is, like, when I started shooting video for YouTube, I ended up morphing into Canon EF mount. And when you start buying lenses, you want to have like a zoom. I used to use it in my old studio for the large format videos where I was like zooming into like features and stuff. And I bought a 100 macro, and I had like 3-4 lenses max. I was like, well, this is kind of a waste of just shooting video, and I do like video a lot. Errol can assess.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, but I was like, well, it'd be cool to also shoot film with them, because why not?
I mean, it makes a lot of sense for video. These are like ridiculously good value. This is the IS version, so it's like 600 euros, and it never devalues basically.
I paid like 300.
Yeah, I mean, you paid like 3 cents for everything you own, but it's, realistically, you paid like 400 to 600 for this, and it's such ridiculous. It's a good value.
It's really nice.
So just taking that, and you buy it for video, and it's really good value, but then film.
Yeah, and when you pick up this stuff, like, one good thing that's happening with the digital revolution and mirrorless coming strong is that Canon and Nikon are dropping their SLR lenses, DSLR and SLR, which is making most of these lenses starting to be more obsolete per se than they were before. And a lot of these lenses were like made for the film days. So some of the digital people are like, they're not sharp enough, or they're not focusing fast enough. It doesn't have eye autofocus. It doesn't have continuous EF, something, whatever.
Yep.
So they're getting to be pretty cheap. And it's just ridiculous coming from like, we shoot Leica cameras. You own and multiple, and I own way too many. And it's a complete different thing. Like, this is a 28 1.8. If I wanted to get a 28 Summicron, and there's nothing to do with this lens to a Summicron, okay? So I'm not comparing them.
I mean,
but this lens is like 300, and a Summicron, or even an Elmarit or something like that, is like 900 starting price. So it's kind of fun.
The 28 Summicron is
Elmarit. Like
Elmarit is 1800. I mean, I know because I was just looking at it, and the Summicron is almost 2.5K, I think.
Okay. Well, this lens was 150, I think, because now at the store we work at Camera Store, not sponsored in any way. This lens is what we have started calling quality control not passed, which means there's a major defect. This one has 2 major nicks on the front. You can see them on the B cam. We're going to throw some B cam. Don't expect more B cam in other episodes. But basically, this lens is like not good. And I was scrolling the store just for fun, and I found that, and I picked it up.
I almost picked it up before. Fuck you.
I mean, 28 mil, 1.8, and I think it has some weird issue with it. It does render some funky results, but
I was kind of puzzled by the stuff you got back. You got back some scans Thursday, Friday, and it was, a lot of them were really good. Some of them were on the 7200, and those were amazing. But the ones you got from the 28, they had some weird aberration on them.
It's like an aberration halo effect. I don't know if that's how they're supposed
to look. Shoot it wide open?
Yes, always 1.8.
Okay.
Just, I mean, I was trying to provoke any issue with the nicks. We're talking about super harsh sun, midday, and
no hood, of course.
No hood, of course. Why? Well, it didn't come with a lens. I'm not buying a hood. The hood might be more expensive than the lens.
Probably more expensive, yeah.
And I was just shooting with this stuff. But yeah, it's just great value for the money. And most people shooting film, like I said, are trying to nurture that slowing down. They're buying a Canon FD camera because it looks retro and cool. They're not buying this because this looks like you're, shooting in the 1980s Olympics or maybe 1990s. But yeah, I highly recommend this. It's 1V, 1N, the EOS 3, EOS 5, I think there's another one, and so on.
And all of these are called different things in different markets. I hate Canon for this. It's the worst. I was looking at the Canon 50 in Europe, I think. It's the Elan 2 in the US and the 50.
There's Elan 7E.
Yeah, and then in Japan it's called EOS 55, I think. And they're marginally different in Japan apparently, but anyway, I was looking at them and they're a complete mess. So who knows what they're called?
Yeah, but they're cheap.
Markets.
I
mean, those are like 100.
Yeah,
or less if you buy it on eBay.
Yeah, like the EOS 300, which is the one that's one of the favorite ones for the staff here at work.
Yeah, everyone has one.
Yeah, everyone has one. I have 2 maybe. They're so cheap. They're like 39 euros. And those cameras
From
have,
the store,
yeah,
mind you. They're
from camera store, not
like
from
checked. Someone has like gone through this and checked it on a real shutter tester that they need training to use, and we sell them for 39. It's kind of tragic.
Yeah. But there's so many of those, and they're the soccer, parents. I don't want to say soccer mom, soccer dad, whatever you want. I actually went on a minivan to shoot soccer, so I felt
Of
super.
course you did.
I need to take this too.
You do.
It's just too hot. But yeah, it's really good value. The lenses are ridiculously inexpensive per se, if you're comparing to some other formats and medium formats and stuff. And the features it gives you, like the AF, continuous AF,
Yeah. Well, not the 300, but it's decent.
yeah, but it's good. It's fun. I highly recommend it. And I just wanted to show, this is maybe what I'm going to take to today's practice. This is a 300 mil 2.8. Also not the first version. So the first version. So it's bad in digital terms.
Oh, really?
But it's probably great on film terms. And that's one thing to note. Many of these lenses perform much better on the film counterparts than on the digital counterparts.
You'll go see reviews online and people complain about the performance. For example, of the 28 1.4, the first version. No, sorry, 24 1.4. The first version of that is not well regarded in forums online, but I've never shot it, but my guess is that it's considered bad on digital, but it's actually fine on film.
Yeah. And you get to just have fun with different cameras. Like I said, I recommend it. You can get a 300V for like 39 euros. You can get a 50 1.8 for like 89 euros, and for like less than 120, you have a perfectly great camera that will expose perfectly almost in every scenario. It will focus perfectly. It will meter and expose and advance. Everything will be great.
Until it breaks.
Oh?
Until it breaks.
Until it breaks. And then when it breaks, you get another one because there's plenty of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the little update of shooting this. I would love to hear if people enjoy shooting.
Yeah, I'm curious if it's kind of moving into this. If it's because I'm still very much on the my first camera was like a 3F, very manual, very vintage. Lenses have a lot of vintage character, especially in the UK. They were very moldy. And I've kind of continued in that vein, but sometimes I pick up something like this, and I mean the results are very different. They have this interesting mix of digital and film, because you get the digital lenses but on film, which is sometimes appealing. I keep flip-flopping back and forth between like vintage and
you shoot
something.
Stuff you usually don't shoot.
You do,
at least
yeah.
me.
Yep.
Like I've used a lot of this wide angle stuff that I don't even point, and I just like shoot a couple of shots of my kids running around. I misfocus a few, but like it's so different. And one thing I think that deters people from these cameras versus what is popular now is they do look ugly.
They're so
So
I mean,
that is the best part of it, is because they're ugly. Nobody wants them. And people will pick up on it at some point and start shooting these because, one of the common things we say here at work is that if they turn on and shoot, they work. It's
generally, yeah.
very rare that it's electronically controlled shutter, so perfect. So, it's not like a Pentax K1000 or a Canon AE1 or a Spotmatic that might be out of alignment and whatever. So you can, yes, they are repairable, and that's great, but they also, 9 out of 10 are not properly calibrated, and these just work until they don't. And then they just, like I said, you just recycle them.
My main problem with them. So I've been shooting the 1N, which just feels slightly less nice than this. It's the kind of it sounds great. Yeah, the 1N sounds much worse than this. I like sounds matter to me, but also button interface and stuff is one thing is that it looks ugly, but it does give you a bit of that I don't want to say smartphone feeling, but you do lose some of the tactile niceness you do get with other cameras, like the shutter button. This one is okay, but the 1N I was trying was kind of sloppy, and yeah, they're ugly. That's part of it, but to me, part of it is the tactile feeling that you do lose.
Yeah.
So if you care about the results, which generally I think are really nice from these, then yeah.
Yeah, this is a results camera.
Yeah.
It's not I don't know, I guess I have a bit of I love gadgets, I love tech, I love stuff like that. So there's a super fun feeling of going out with this camera and like a lens like this and shooting, even if it's your kids, I don't care. You can shoot nature, animals, whatever you do. It just gives that super cool feeling to using it. And then, yeah, you were burning film really fast. But
Yeah.
like I shot one roll only.
Yeah,
So
and it's like an outing with your kids. It's a roll of Portra 400 with development 30, 40 bucks.
I don't know how many, like a euro a shot or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's a euro a shot, but you shot that one, you know. It's not going to ruin you. You didn't shoot 50 rolls of film.
And working here at a store, like picking up a lens like this for a shootout is free. So it's, you get to borrow these things and they'll sell in 2 days and then you won't have one for 6 months. But like every summer seems to be, there's a 300 2.8. So I borrow it for a weekend and shoot and I have a lot of fun. But yeah, just wanted to express that because I think it's kind of fun to share, not just, you know, Hasselblads and Leicas and all this stuff, but some funky, ugly plastic cameras. And they're great to learn to because everything works. So the mistakes can only
if you want to learn about
composing.
the composing bit, if you want to learn about the technical operating a camera bit, they all have program mode and you can just point and shoot, which is one of the things I like. Using them as a literal point and shoot. Okay, they're maybe not quite as sexy as the T2, but the 300 with a 40 pancake on it, it's the same size as a point and shoot basically, and you get to look through the viewfinder, which is kind of amazing.
Yeah,
I think they're much better deals as point and shoots. Like those two in combination are like 150 maybe you can find one for 100 on eBay, but the combination of the 40 pancake and the 300. And they're much better point and shoots than basically any other point and shoot you can get.
Yeah, that's the thing that, I guess we missed that too, is like I have Yashica T4, T5, Contax T2s, and there's it's at home, I think.
Oh. I'm actually shooting your camera as well.
Yeah.
Usually they just sit around in the office.
Yeah, I shot a roll of Silbera color, which I can also throw some results. Fill flash on a point and shoot is awesome. But yeah, like point and shoots are getting to a price where the cheapest ones are like 100 to 300 depending on the models, and the expensive ones are going for multiple thousands in the case of some cameras.
Size
we can
comparison.
change the sizes. Well, this has the grip.
The grip is the same size as the camera.
Yeah, but the thing with this is like it gives you a false sense of control.
Yeah,
that is not really true.
You have no control in this.
If you read the manual of the Contax T2, you'll realize that when it says 2.8 or F4, it'll default to whatever it thinks is best. So point and shoots were made for like always give good results. Most users that are shooting these are, well, maybe not Contax T2s, but they were made for grandmas and, going to Egypt and shooting the pyramids from 300 meters away on a bus. So they're made to try to do the best they can. But they give you a false feeling that you can control the aperture and the plus minus exposure and the focus, which it does let you do some of it. But
it's like plus minus from what?
This is like 1,400, 1,300 nowadays. I don't know. Depends on where you're buying it from.
It's actually about the same as this.
Yeah, well, this camera has gone crazy in price.
It's ridiculous.
But
like
the
buy
one
a 1N
is like 100, 200.
No one needs this. Buy a 1N.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
But the 300V with a pancake it's a 42.8. It's a 38.2.8. So there's 10 millimeters difference. No, 2 millimeter difference.
Yeah, it's the same lens.
And you'll have all the controls on a 300, and you'll spend like 120 euros. You won't look cool at the parties.
I mean, it is champagne colored. It's the same color.
It's so ugly.
It's really ugly.
I
don't know why Canon did this.
It's
whole
like the
champagne
ugly
thing.
champagne Mamiya 7.
I guess the 90s thought this was kind of cool. This like weird brownish khaki tan situation.
I heard that this was mostly decided for the Olympics to make a difference between Canon and Nikon.
Oh.
So I think when Canon was the underdog to Nikon,
I mean, did they just try and copy it?
No, I think what they try to do is like, as they were convincing a lot of professionals to move to Canon, they wanted to make a, like, there was a real big statement of seeing the pits at the games of the soccer or Olympics shooting with lenses that were all black or whatever white this is, dirty white.
Yeah,
they maybe were whiter in the 80s or 90s whenever they came out.
Maybe.
But that's what I think was the main reason for this, is to show a difference.
Cool. Never heard that. Makes sense.
I've also heard about it doesn't get warm in the sun and stuff. I don't know if that's BS or not.
It sounds like BS.
Yeah, but yeah, I heard that it's to make a difference when shooting at the pits.
Cool.
So who knows? But yeah, like we said, just get yourself a cheap, ugly. There's a Spanish channel that I collaborate with called Dispara Film in Spain, and they always call like cámaras feas de cojones. So it's like ugly as shit film cameras, and those are this kind of stuff. Plastic, fantastic. Has all the bells and whistles. But yeah, moving on to something else. We went the other day and shot outside, and we shot some video outside.
We actually shot stuff. It's
Yeah.
weird working in a camera store. You never shoot pictures
Yeah,
unless it's like, your kids.
old product photography.
Yeah, well, yes, at work, sure.
But yeah, we went out and shot some, I guess, like evening shots.
Yeah, you told me you wanted to go and shoot some sunset, which isn't like shooting into the sunset, but like, low sun,
like
nice
the low light.
golden hour.
Yeah, the good thing about Finland, there's not many good things. Or at least you can take it as good thing or bad thing. But one of the good things that I find is that the sun is always either just about to come out and goes down, which is winter. There's like golden hour for
It's
like
a golden
2
hour.
hours.
Yeah, it's a golden hour for the whole time it's bright, which is 2
Because
hours.
it just barely comes out,
Yeah,
which
kinda
gives
cool.
you beautiful light.
It's great.
And then in the summer, we have golden hour from like 8 at night till like 5 in the morning, because it also almost doesn't, like, it doesn't go down,
Yeah.
but it stays on the horizon. So I always been triggered to be like, hey, I should go out shooting at like 9. And in my case, I can feed the kids, put them to bed, give them a kiss, and go out shoot. And as Finland is extremely safe, you can just walk out the door with any cameras and nobody will care. And most people in Finland are asleep by like 9.
We met like 2 old grandmas and 1 person in a fancy car. That's like it.
Yeah. And we shot in a neighborhood and I took my Mamiya RB67. I made a video on the channel about changing my portrait setup would be the Mamiya RB. I like to think of cameras, like I said, for different moods. And I changed my RZ67, and I had 2 of them to RB, mainly for mechanical reasons, so electronic to mechanical, and secondary because it's kind of, I would say it's cheaper, but it's not cheaper because I paid, repaired and CL8 and so on price.
No, I mean, still a repaired in CL8 RB is cheaper than a repaired in CL8 RZ.
And it's the Pro SD and has the KL lenses.
Is there one over there?
I have it over there. Yeah. Should I pull it out?
Yeah, you should pull it out. It's nice comparison. Try not break it. We're gonna need the whole table here. Oh god! Almost dropped the T2.
Well, this one's broken.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, does it show? Yes. Let's put the cable to the side. So this is the RB67S Pro SD. It was the latest iteration of the RB, and it has, the back is also the Pro SD, and the lens is the KL. So this is the closest you can get to basically an RZ. The lens.
I just realized these are actually almost contemporaries. This one came out before this, but they're not that far apart. Like this was the studio horse, and this was the sports.
They were sold at the same time at some point.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I changed to this. One thing I noted when we went out is I had no idea how to use it.
It was hilarious.
This camera is very similar to the RZ, but it's not the same.
New.
And it has the double action where you shoot, you cock the shutter, and then you have to advance the film separately. They're decoupled, which is annoying. But if you're shooting at
the way we were shooting, we
shot one roll, so
in a whole
like 2 hours.
Yeah.
So that pace, it's completely opposites of this. In that way, it really is interesting. But yeah, I said it would be my portrait kit, but I don't have a 6x7 quality camera to walk around. I guess the Plowbell counts.
Did you get rid of your Mamiya 7?
Yeah, I saw my Mamiya 7
right, yeah.
for the 3rd time.
Yeah, when Nico got here, he just bought a Mamiya 7 II from the store, and that was the be-all, end-all camera, and here we are.
Yeah, my problem with Mamiya 7 is that the quality is so good that I don't always know what to do with it.
It's a walk-around camera for exactly that kind of situation. If you wanted to shoot what we shot the other day, just handheld, and you would have shot 3 rolls instead of 1 roll,
It's the
Yeah.
it's the perfect camera. I will never say that it's not. The problem is it's too perfect in a way. This is an animal to move around. It's super heavy. It's super clunky. Super annoying. Changing from vertical to horizontal is like rotating the whole back, which feels amazing.
I mean, it's
Um,
a really good mechanism.
But the thing with this is I wanted something mechanical. The Mamiya 7 is not mechanical. Plus, the Mamiya 7 is like 5,000 euros with a lens at current times.
Yay.
I think I sold it and I bought. What did I get with that? I think I got my digital Leica, sadly.
Oh.
So yeah, or something like that. I don't know.
It wasn't your special lens?
No,
Oh, okay.
not the special lens.
Okay.
But yeah, so basically, one thing I figured out when we walked out is I have no idea how to use it.
Really no idea. Like, fully, I think I had taken 3 pictures by the time Nico figured out the first one.
Yeah.
It was...
And it's hilarious because I've done videos on how to shoot the RZ, how to unlock the RZ, how to cock it and turn it, and everything on the RZ that I can think of. I have no idea how to use it, so I will have to read the manual, which I have the original manual, and figure it
in
out.
Finnish?
I don't know, maybe.
Probably we have one in Finnish.
We have lots in Finnish.
Yeah.
I think mine's in English. But yeah, great camera. The results, I'll throw a few on the screen.
You developed them already?
Yeah.
Oh.
I send them to our lab. We have an amazing feature here at work where we have a collaboration with Carmetita in Spain. Like I said, not sponsored, not endorsed in any way.
That's good.
So we ship film once or twice a week, depending on the amount of film we have in store. And then we get results like in a week to 10 days, depending on their workload.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Obviously, as Valoy, I don't participate in the service. I both develop and scan my own film. But
Yeah.
everyone else at the office uses this service.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I have a slight obligation to actually use my products to
I do
understand.
the black and white myself, or the lack of.
Well, you don't do the black and white yourself. You put them in a bag and say you're going to do them. Where is your bag?
It's somewhere here.
He has a bag that's
we can
like...
dump it. I
Yeah.
have like 100 rolls to develop. By the way, on that topic, I am getting from Filmomat the light developing.
That's actually really
machine.
exciting, and we're going to probably do a whole
We'll do a whole
podcast on...
episode on
yeah.
the machine
But
and probably
basically-
develop with the machine here. So
That's the plan. We'll try.
subscribe.
Subscribe.
You want to see that?
Yeah, but basically...
I think I've never said
Filmomat-
subscribe on my channel.
No.
No.
You want to say what it is?
The Filmomat light is, how do I say it? It's like a step up from developing in your own kitchen sink, and it's a step down from a Jobo CPE 2 or 3
With a lift.
With a lift.
So it's not...
Nah, even without a lift.
Well, I guess the CPE 3 heats.
CP,
E2, whatever.
CPE 3 heats and rotates and so on.
Jobo should learn something from Valoy. We call things the duster. And, what does it do?
I don't like the duster.
I know, but it removes dust. Jobo should learn something that not call things CPE 3.
Yeah,
What does that mean?
On the episode about developing machines, we'll go into Jobo and a little bit of that. But yeah, this machine basically is a container. I guess, how do you call it when water can't walk out? Sealed container? I don't
It's
know.
a bucket.
Estanco in Spanish.
It's a
Sorry.
bucket.
Okay, so it's
It's a nice bucket, but it's
a
a
cool
bucket.
looking bucket that holds water and doesn't drip, hopefully. That can hold your chemicals. It can hold a sous vide or whatever the word is, that are extremely affordable nowadays. And it will hold tanks, and it has a little motor that's programmable.
Yeah, so basically you lay your tank down on the side,
And you put like
this.
a wheel with a counterweight.
Yeah.
It comes
and
with a
then
counterweight.
It can spin with the weight and
Yeah.
go backwards, and
Yeah.
it's sitting in a water bath, so it can heat it up and keep
Yeah.
it stable.
So it's basically, the good thing is it's pretty affordable. I think it's $399 starting price, and then
Yeah.
final price is going to be like $500.
Oh, okay.
It's expensive. I won't say it's not, but compared to buying a Jobo, which starts like 1,000 plus.
And it's quite large. Like this thing is
It's
not
it's
very
smaller.
Like the
It's
Filmomat
smaller.
Lite is a lot smaller.
So I've always had like a dream. Errol's heard about it, but my dream for a Jobo killer,
Poor Jobo.
and we shouldn't maybe spill too much before we do the whole episode on developing machines, but was starting with a machine that could adapt any tank to developing, like by water submersion or something like that. And is it gonna fall?
Spanish hands, they go everywhere.
I
so
go everywhere. I'm not gonna drop that.
Sure.
So basically, it will do all kinds of tanks, and it would have warming but you would have to do like a semi-manual up and down, like
Yep.
emptying and filling.
You do.
And then after that, it would be the Jobo machine. And there already been things that come out like the mid-tone machines and the CP 800 in Hong Kong from the lab guys.
The Diva, but they're all quite different beasts. They're automatic beasts, and the same with. So the reason for the film, maybe we should wait for this, but it's a cool machine, and we're quite excited for it because it hits a lot of the right points.
To me, what it does is it breaks the laziness to do multiple developing sessions. So
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of developing myself. I like shooting at 1600 on my black and white and developing in HD 110, which hopefully is not gone. Tetanol, please. And I know it's Kodak, but Tetanol makes it, at least in Europe. And we'll talk about that also in a different episode or maybe later.
it's still in stock in Photo Impacts.
Yeah, it's so expensive compared to what it was.
Ridiculous.
But yeah, so like I like developing myself. The problem I have is I'm spoiled by Jobo machines in my old lab. And I like using like the whole rack, 8 rolls, 1 liter, and just developing 8 in one
That's
go, and
great.
then emptying that and doing another 8. So in like one session, I think my maximum I've done is like 50 rolls in one morning.
It's the quickest you can develop by hand. But what's exciting to me about the Filmomat Lite is that you can get the quality from a Jobo or like an automatic professional system, but for like a quarter or a
And a
tenth
smaller
of the price or
footprint,
whatever.
smaller
Yeah.
footprint, cheaper.
It's a home
price.
machine, unlike basically everything else on the market. So
Yeah.
it's very cool.
And if you don't know how to write Filmomat, we'll put it on the screen because we're saying it a lot. But yeah,
Yeah.
just in case. There's
It's cool.
not sponsored either or
No,
promoted.
but
They're
it's just
sending they're sending me one to try, and I'll make a video.
So next time maybe it'll be here.
Yeah, hopefully.
We'll need to get
But yeah,
patents.
going to the other spectrum, I think we mentioned something about me owning a digital Leica after selling my Mamiya 7.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Funny enough, we are Leica bros in the sense that
Oh,
he
God.
bought a Leica. It's horrible.
I don't want to be like him. I refuse.
I refuse to, but it's true.
It
I
is.
bought a Leica M10P
Yeah.
for PNE, and he bought the Leica M10P in silver. I have a black one. You have a silver one.
That's great.
And I don't know. I never expected to own a digital Leica, honestly, but I borrowed from the store the M10M, the monochrome, and it was like I was holding it with like cotton gloves and like careful because I don't want to scratch it. It was like
I mean, it's the stores, then
6,500
yeah.
euros, and it's someone's gonna buy it, and I don't want to give them any scratches that weren't there before. And I really enjoyed it, surprisingly.
Surprisingly?
I have never enjoyed shooting digital as a photography wise. And I really enjoyed it. I really like the character of old lenses.
Yep.
I used it in my kitchen while my kids were having breakfast with some friends and shot some black and white, obviously.
On the monochrome,
On
really?
the monochrome,
No,
yeah.
you didn't trichrome it?
No, I didn't try chrome it. I could have be cool experiment. But so after that, I decided I wanted to do. I find that there's a lack of information on Leica stuff.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, you would think there's plenty of stuff.
I mean, there is stuff. There's Mr. Leica. He does a lot of good stuff, and Ken Rockwell has a
does.
lot of like technical information. But other than that, it's surprisingly little.
So
I mean, it's
yeah.
well documented in like various places.
Yeah, so I decided I wanted to do a whole venture with that, which I guess I'll release one day and I'll mention it on the podcast officially. But for now, I bought a digital M10P to do the analysis of the digital
First
side.
step is, of course, spending the money. That's the way it
Yeah,
works.
that's the whole point. But I've been enjoying shooting that surprisingly. It's kind of also, I guess it's kind of goes like the 1V.
Yeah.
It's Leica, you have to focus manually, you have to, do all these things, but then you can kind of shoot and not pay. I guess you pay before you buy the camera.
Yeah.
But like it's been really interesting to own and to shoot. You've had the M10P too. The P, should we explain anything? People like film in this channel, so they might disconnect
Well,
now.
I think it's interesting because the P is probably the most, other than the MD,
D, I
their
think.
naming is terrible
It
as
has
well.
a little.
Leica.
It has the little advanced lever.
The
No
thumb rest.
screen and the
No,
thumb
but
rest.
other than that, so that the MD, I think it's the MD, doesn't have a screen. It's a digital camera still. Doesn't have a screen, and it has a little thumb rest. It looks like the advanced lever on the film one. But ignoring that like weird anomaly, the M10P is like the most film camera looking one. It has the engraving on top. It has a slightly more silent shutter.
It has no red dot.
It has no red dot. Crucially, very important.
Should I say why I bought mine? Mine, I got it because it was a digital Leica that is as thick as a normal film Leica. And for those who don't know, when Leica made digital cameras in rangefinder mode, they went chunky because I guess they couldn't miniaturize the electronics yet.
Yeah.
So they were chunkier. I tried an M9 in whenever years ago.
Gross.
Like I shot 2 shots in a
We
fence.
both shoot. We have shot a lot of film Leica as well. So to us, like I think if other people pick up an M9, it doesn't feel bad. It's a nice camera. It's
yeah, but if you shoot film, it's weird.
It's very weird.
But yeah, to me, the M10P was thin, like thinner than the others, and it was the same as film. It had no red dot. I don't know why I've never really enjoyed the red dot on the front of the cameras. We live in Finland again. You can leave it on the table, walk away, nobody will take it.
Yeah, no,
but in most
bad.
other parts in the world, you don't want to have a calling to expensive camera.
I just don't like the aesthetic. It's just
I like how
weird.
I like in mine. I like it's all black. I like there's no red dot, and I like that the shutter is quieter than the others.
Touchscreen is also nice.
I never remember there's a touchscreen.
Yeah, right after we bought ours, we bought them kind of at the same time.
Yeah.
You slightly before me, and I'd read up on the features. Nico clearly had not, because I walked in like, oh, look at my pictures, and I tried the touchscreen. He was like, wait, it has that touchscreen?
Yeah,
But,
I don't read. Like I said, I have the RB here. I don't read manuals.
Yeah, you have to turn the lens to focus.
I do know that from the film ones, thankfully.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been an interesting journey to try it out. I actually picked up a Summicron 50, which I never enjoyed on film for whatever the reason. I know you do, but I really enjoy on the digital. It's made me an appreciation for longer lenses, because rangefinder and long lenses, and now that we have super long lenses,
well, not this long.
Yes, is really complicated, because rangefinders, as you know, there's like 2 windows, and you're like seeing like a triangulation or whatever. There's like a form, whatever.
Yes.
I'm not that technical. So rangefinders, the longer it is, the more dangerous it is to miss focus, or easier.
Yeah, I mean, longer lenses just have a shallower depth of field, and the rangefinder is only precise down to a certain. That's why you don't really get like 200mm Leica M lenses or rangefinder lenses.
So picking up a 90 from the store again and shooting, sports with it has been super fun. As a difference, I do wish I would have bought a monochrome, because I do not like color in digital.
I think of color cameras, the M10, the Leicas have nice, like not that, doesn't require that much editing. You just kind of do your little preset on the back, and it looks pretty decent. But color is just still.
Well, that's what you're saying. You do presets because you read how to do presets. I don't read how to do it,
Yes.
so I shoot
you also have the
whatever.
problem of being incapable of using Lightroom. That doesn't help.
Yeah.
Whereas black and white is like boop, and then contrast. Whoop.
That's my level.
Editing, Nico editing.
Yeah, but yeah, we both picked up, I guess, the M10P and enjoyed it.
To me, it's just been I shoot a lot of film, but a lot of it does not really deserve being on film.
Doesn't command to be film. You're telling my soccer pictures shouldn't be on film?
I think sometimes. I think it's nice to, but you don't need to take it to every soccer practice and shoot.
I mean, you're a cat owner, not
exactly.
a kid owner.
Cats do not need a million pictures on film of my cat. Yes, I do need pictures of my cat, but they do not need to be on film.
Yeah, same as me with kids. Like, it's become. I haven't shot that much with it lately, but it is.
Me neither, actually.
Yeah.
I saw it today. I was like, oh,
It's
you're
like
dusty.
Yeah, me too. I picked it up yesterday. But like it's interesting how you get like hyped for a new thing, then you kind of lose. But with these things, they lose value. Digital loses value, but digital Leica loses value at a very different path.
Yeah.
Like you buy a Sony, and a week later there's another Sony, and then there's another Sony, and there's another Sony.
Slightly less and less now that digital is kind of like.
They just released the
peaking.
ZV-1 that has full frame A7S sensor, and they're announcing a new vlogging camera in a week.
Oh God. Okay, video stuff is completely. I don't know.
Like I said, I like tech and stuff, so I won't talk about digital.
The other thing for me is just low ISO performance, high ISO performance. Living in Finland, it's dark for at least 6 months of the year.
9.
Basically 9, kind of. And shooting film, especially indoors. So I did 2 things. I bought a flash, a really nice, the Leica 26. I
The
don't know.
name's
Whatever. The
terrible.
little one that does automatic metering on the
And it can swivel.
and it swivels. So I bought a flash, and I bought a digital camera, and those allow me to take actually nice pictures indoors. Like I can take pictures indoors on film, but they in winter look like shit.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like we were talking about my HP5 1600 style. That comes from where I was living previously, which is the north of Spain. When I say I'm from Spain, people always imagine the sun
Spain.
and the know the dancers and the paellas and the bulls. But I come from Mordor, Spain, and it is dark, it is gray, it is rainy, it is cold. So I always shot at 1600 because there was no other choice. I couldn't load HP5, shoot at 400. Maybe outdoors I could, but the moment I walked inside, it was like dead. And I've always shot film in the way that the moment I can't shoot because of the conditions, I just put the camera away and do
that's
something
fine.
else. And that's another way to do it. But yeah, 1600 has been my jam for that. And I don't really like the results when I scan them. I don't care if I scan them with Veloy or with anything.
No, you don't understand. Veloy scanned.
We'll make it better.
Yeah, we'll make it much better.
Yeah.
We'll make it color, actually.
This is not sponsored by Beloy, so no, it
not.
doesn't make it better. It makes it just look. It just looks. I don't like the grain when I digitize 1600 film. It always looks. I mean, it looks okay, but it looks a little too grainy. And if I will go grain, I like all the grain. So I like Tmax 3200. Super fun film.
It's so ugly.
It's so grainy. I love it. But what I do love is when you print. Like when you print that 1600.
Yeah, if you
ISO,
print it like this big, it's fine.
I don't print big. Why do you print big?
Well,
it's like a young thing.
You view it on a big screen, so that's why you don't like the grain on it.
No, I don't like the grain either way.
Okay, whatever.
But yeah, when you print on an 8x10, like a 35mm shot with a bit of a white border, like not full-fledged,
Sure.
it looks really nice.
It does.
And I do like the contrast. I like you said, we were talking about, that's why I was bringing it up.
Yeah.
You were like on the monochrome, you just do contrast, and that's my level of Lightroom. So in the darkroom, I don't have to touch even the contrast. It's already pretty much there
Yeah,
from
you
the
slap
film.
in a 3.5 filter, and you're like, oh, no, that's great.
Not even 3.5.
No?
I think I print at 3 or 2.5
Oh, low contrast
most times.
guy.
No, because the film is 1600, so it already has contrast in the film.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's been my jam, and that's why I have 100 plus rolls of film to develop, which I hope to
One
get
day.
rid of
Maybe
soon.
we should put them in the fridge. At this rate.
I've never noticed an issue unless it's like really bad.
Yeah.
Like the film in the fridge is, yes, it's true and it works, but like
Especially
it's
the
like
freezer
diminishing
works.
returns because I put it in the freezer and things have melted and broken my film.
Okay, well,
like,
we have constant power supply in Finland. Spain doesn't, I get.
No, we're not that bad, but the problem with that is when the freezers break. But I have Portra here, a 4x5 that's glued to each other from condensation inside the package.
Great.
If you want it for free, I can give it to you for
I
free.
don't want to waste my time. I'm all right.
Yeah. It crunches. You go like crunch, and then you can load them.
Oh, that's so sad.
It's so sad.
You can get like nice kind of effects of.
I should do like film soup on 4x5, you know? That's basically what's happened.
No, the 8x10, the M10 has been an interesting addition to someone who shoots film, and I realized from shooting that I used to have a different digital camera. I didn't like shooting it. I mean, the results are fine, but like I was talking about earlier with the buttons and stuff, the tactile feeling of them is not great. Even Fujifilm, like maybe the Fujifilm X-T1, the first one they did, the first kind of professional one they did, feels pretty decent, but then anything like the XE2, that naming is terrible, is just, they all feel like plastic cameras, and the Leica really does not. It's a very different kind of camera to use.
I don't touch anything. I set the ISO. I change the ISO maybe 2 times a day if I'm with it.
Yeah.
And I don't change anything else. I don't use the live view. It has like this built-in level, which is like
What?
It's like an AR, like augmented reality. It shows like lines, and you're like warping up. It's like a bubble level. I don't know.
Cool.
It's horrendous.
Okay, that's cool.
But yeah, I just, like you said, I use that front ring that focuses and the front ring that's aperture and the shutter button, and that's about it. I do use a lot the exposure compensation because the light meter in the Leica M10P and I guess the M10 is trash. I don't know. I feel like nobody's made a video about how bad it is.
It's spectacularly bad.
Yeah, it basically is super sensitive to. Well, we talked about it. Maybe it's my lack of understanding from digital perspective. Is it always underexposes, so it prevents the highlights, which I heard is the digital is the other way around.
Yeah, it's like slide film. It's very protective of its highlights, like overprotective. I think a lot of people say like they shoot them with -1 exposure compensation for this.
Really?
Yeah. People talk about this, and that's like, in my opinion, completely unnecessary because the light meter will baby you. It will not let you blow out those highlights.
Oh, I blow them up all the time.
The other thing about it is that it's surprisingly centered. You expect it's a digital camera.
Well, the light meter is a frame in the middle of the shutter, so it's centered.
But it's worse. So I have an MP as well, film camera, with a light meter, and
it's the circle only.
It's the circle only, and I find the circle more intuitive because I can point it at something, meter for that, and then move my frame again. But the MP, even if there's like a little random spot of light, M10P, the little random spot of light out on the corner of the frame, it will still be picked up by the frame, and it's like, well, I didn't want to expose for this light lamppost.
Yeah, I have a question. You that read the manual, is there a light meter freeze? What is it called? Like meter
AEL or
I can't.
Lock.
I don't read the
exposure
manuals.
lock.
Exposure lock. Is there one?
Yeah, it's half press.
Really?
Yeah, half press.
I don't read the manual. I find that's the other thing. I use the play to re-see my results. The second, probably the most button I use, almost more than the shutter itself.
Why don't you have auto review on? I'm the opposite. I don't review my photos. I just have the screen off. I almost never use the screen, and I just shoot it like film and hope that it's good. And the more I shoot it, the more I learn that this light meter is trash and I have to compensate for it. But it's
garbage.
It's
hot garbage. That's one thing that the M11 monochrome is fixed, or the M11, where the light meter is like all over the place.
So they just open the shutter, I guess.
I don't know
what they did with that. I don't know. I don't want to look into it. I don't want to buy one, so I don't. It's twice the price of the M10P, so why would I pay twice?
Well, you would have to sell like the 1V, the Mamiya RB, the 70-200, and the 300 we don't own to afford an M11.
Not even that. It's worse than that. It's ridiculous.
It's
you
like
have to sell
1,000
people
plus 2,000,
people
3,000,
complain about the
600 and 3,000. Here, there.
It's 8,000 new, at least.
You can sell the microphones.
Sell the microphones, yeah.
And the Contax T2.
Broken.
We can be like, as is Contax T2.
Yes, 1,200.
Because it's as is. It has a shake.
It shakes.
It shakes with something inside.
Yeah.
But yeah.
For me, it's been probably a positive thing for my shooting. Oh, the final thing that I realized from it is not my own thing, but it's other people around me. I take pictures of friends, family, traveling often, and they're like, "Oh, can I see the pictures?" No, I just shot slides. I'll, develop it in 2 months, and you will see them in 3 months when I scan them.
And they'll have a magenta tint.
Yeah. Whereas the digital, I can put it on my phone.
I have to say the app is surprisingly useful.
It's okay. Yeah, the app is
compared
the
to other brands.
Yes.
Like I had this RP that we have here. This is not mine.
Rubbish.
It's horrendous, and the Sony one is just the Sony menus.
Yeah.
The app is decent. It takes forever to connect because I guess it has to boot the camera as a router.
I guess that's my only problem with it. The S1R, the Panasonic S1R we use in the studio, you just connect to it and it's like on.
But I do like the review. I took it to...
No, the app functionality is really good.
And you can share them with family, I guess, and friends.
Yeah, and you got nice JPEGs and you just plop them into WhatsApp or whatever.
You can even get the DNGs on your phone.
You can.
And then edit them.
I can edit them. You can't edit them, but yeah.
I can open the app.
Yes, you can open the app. I do have Lightroom on my phone.
I have Lightroom too on my everything.
iPad and computer and
everywhere.
Phone,
I don't open it, but it's there.
It's very useful. The other thing I did for that reason was buy an Instax printer. It's very
I have a
Have I
friend.
told you about this?
I have a friend of the channel, who Miguel, that lives in San Francisco, basically, and he came to visit me in Spain one time, maybe more than one time. I'm terrible for remembering things, but he had an M240 or something like that. And horrible namings too.
Yeah.
Everybody should learn how to name things.
Like Valoy.
Not from Valoy. But he had the Instax printer, so he would like
Yeah.
airdrop is the only name I know, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bluetooth
Air
or
share,
whatever.
Bluetooth share, and then print them, and they're pretty cool.
It's surprisingly fun, and you get the click, and then
I still don't know how the
1 minute later it's there.
heck does Instax printer work. Like, is it a LCD against the film?
I guess
Because
it's the
looks
only
good.
way. It does look good. It's either that or a little laser exposure unit. I have no idea. It's more likely a little LCD. It's like a little screen.
But it's amazing.
It looks really good. Like the colors are. It's much
We should
better
break one out and put it as a darkroom contact printer.
What? Oh, you mean use the exposure unit? You can do that with a smartphone.
I've never used that.
It probably has better resolution too. No, but the results are surprisingly good. The aspect ratio is weird, but I also have Instax like cameras, and they're absolute trash. The day someone makes a good Instax camera I'll rejoice. And Mint cameras are decent, but they're
it
plastic.
won't happen. I mean, the best you have is Mint. The problem with Instax is the entry level consumer for Instax is not caring for for quality.
I know, but the film is like relatively decent.
The film is super sharp and super decent. It also exposes like sides. Like
no, but it doesn't on digital. It can hold quite a lot of range because I guess it makes it super low control. Yeah, I don't know what it does, but it makes even relatively high frames with quite high exposure difference look good. Unlike I've been seeing. I expected better results from seeing the Instax on people shooting on large format, but they've been surprisingly kind of high contrast and weird. It's hard to get the exposure right, I guess. But
you got to edit better.
But on the printer, from digital, it's really nice. And
you also got yourself a printer.
Yes, I do have a printer. That's another function of having a digital camera, is that I can't print pictures anymore in the darkroom like I usually do. So now I have a printer, and it's. People talk about printing, and I'm not like, I'm going to make a zine or something. I'm just like, I like seeing my pictures, and it's great for my cat or for my Norway holiday or whatever. And it's nice just having a little like 5x7 print.
But you want to print big.
Yeah, sometimes. But
you joke about me printing small. You also print small. Yeah, I mean, the printer part is something I've never enjoyed, and I don't think I'll ever venture that. I literally, like, my digital photos live in the SD card. I don't develop them either, like my black and white film.
Yeah, he treats digital exactly like he treats his black and white film.
I have the memory cards somewhere. I can't even know where they are.
You should ask Albert if you can just send the SD card to Spain with our developing service, and they can edit them for you.
Oh man, that'd be nice.
You should. It's a service, editing service.
Yeah, I'm terrible. I'm terrible at this. I actually buy new SD cards when I fill them.
Cool.
But it's. I just don't enjoy on the screen. I have to say, I edit a lot of video a week, and I guess, very sick of screens.
And you've also learned video editing, which looks completely different.
I can do color editing on video.
Exactly, but you can't do color editing.
I learned more about like Lightroom and Photoshop through video editing than through photo editing.
Yeah, but they're very different. Like the controls are totally different.
I still think the video editing color programming is so much better than the photo editing software and interface.
Yep.
Like, I can fix a picture on Final Cut in 30 seconds and give me Lightroom, and I'll be like, eh.
Well, it's a training thing.
It's like clarity, and I'm like, what the hell's clarity?
Wrapping up the M10, it's kind of tragic because it's too expensive for most people. Like, we live and breathe cat pictures. We live and breathe film, so it's film, cameras, lenses. So it's kind of fine to us. It's a lot of like, this is the thing that we do. People will buy.
It's like having a lover.
Yeah.
Not that I do.
But it's tragic because no other digital camera. If you enjoy film and the feeling that those give you, basically the Leica cameras are the only thing that will give you that. People talk about the Fuji films; they don't. It's not the same.
I guess it depends. Like, I mean, we're film like Leica film shooters, so a Leica digital camera does feel like home.
Yeah.
I wonder if all we shot with a Dynax 9, it would be a Sony, whatever, would feel more at home than a Leica M digital. We're probably perverted to the Leica body build. Like the lack of features
Maybe,
is something.
but there are non-Leica cameras that feel good. Like the Pentax MX feels great, minus its annoying winding thing. But
I find, like, for example, the Nikon F I find horrendous. I hate the advance of that. It feels like you're breaking the ratchet. And I don't like the Nikon F3 either for that similar reason. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know if I would say I think I do like the M because I'm used to the M. And that's why. I don't think if I was shooting Nikon F80s or Canon 1Vs, I would enjoy the digital M because, it's like almost like film.
But who shoots this stuff? Like, as we've established, this is the underdog in today's world.
Oh, it's the absurd dog in today's world. You don't need it for anything, but it's super fun. I don't know. I enjoy the M10 for the change of, like I say, like it's like a different thing. It's like you always drink beer and one day you have a wine and you're like, whoa, it's different. But it's super expensive. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. I guess if you go into like how much would it be to buy a film Leica and a digital Leica and then shooting to contrast exactly the same amount of money.
Yeah. It wasn't really about the money for me. I mean, shooting the, not saying I'm rich, just like for cameras, it's just,
experience.
It's experience. It's my hobby. It's like my only real hobby. So it can take up the money it needs to take up.
Yeah. But like, and the one thing, like I said, it retains value way better than the other digital gear. So like I bought a Sony something whenever and it's just like lost all the value. And then I bought a few. The RP didn't lose that much value. But like you buy this, I'm confident in a way, unless it breaks, which it could. And I've heard the M11 breaks a lot.
They've had some quality issues.
But like I know that I will sell it in 2 years and get like whatever, like 75% of the money I paid.
Probably, which is, if you think about it, the cost
camera
of owning the camera then for 3 years was 800 euros, which is at the end of the day not that bad. You spend that in like 2 months on owning a car, so you're kind of fine.
Pretty much, yes. But yeah, I guess we can wrap it up. Like we said, there was going to be a bit of everything in this episode.
Next episode, maybe developing.
Maybe film news. Let's do film processing talk. I don't want to say history. Like I have a lot of experience in developing machines, especially Jobos. I was the representative, I want to say, for Jobos in Spain for a little while.
Traveling salesman.
Yeah, I did travel with a machine and sold it to people.
Wait, actually travel?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Really, there was the ancient times.
I know Johannes, the owner, or Johannes the Fourth, or something like that, because Johannes has been the name. It's Johannes Brockenmuller, which is Joe Bo. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I know his wife, and I haven't gone to the factory. I would love to go see the factory, but I have a lot of history with them, and I enjoy the machines. I'm a huge fan of Jobo, but also a huge critic. Whatever the word is.
Yeah, I mean, you're never happy with anyone's products, so it's when I hand you my products and you're like, ugh.
Well, someone has to tell you.
Yeah, that's why I hand you my products, so they're better.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll do something there. We'll deep dive into film processing machines and markets and users and a little bit of history, I guess. It'll be all wrong, probably.
Probably. And it's a tricky area because the market is quite small. Who develops film at home? If you compare it to the wider market, it's a small
not a lot
percentage.
of people do it. And like we said in the last podcast, I think it was really funny that a lot of people were quoting us like, oh, wow, that's why there's been no film. And we're like, we have no idea what we're talking about. We're just elucubrating about like, well, maybe it's this reason.
Yeah, probably Nico was wrong about the last episode.
Yes. So don't trust us. But yeah, that's been the podcast. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching if you watch all the way. And see you in the next episode whenever that comes out.
Oh, will hopefully be more.
Yeah, hope so. We have the setup nailed.
Yeah, it just takes 2 hours to do.
Yes.
Okay.
Bye.